Hello and welcome everyone, this is Calebovitsch coming to you with another Flesh and Blood video. This is going to be Lexi Draft Guide Part 2 Card Evaluation. And there are a lot of cards that you can play with as Lexi, the Elemental Ranger. And, well, if you want to evaluate them, how good they are, what tier they are at, it depends on a lot of things, so I have to start with a disclaimer. This is going to be my personal preference list, and to be honest, I'm one of those people who likes drafting Lexi more than other in my draft groups. So I might be a bit biased towards some cards over the others, but I would like to tell you a general overview nonetheless. Also, the value of the cards depends whether you are more likely to be the go wide or lightning Lexi or go high Lexi with a lot of singular buffs. You also have to know, and I'm going to start the card evaluation explanation with this. For different heroes, the fusion value is different. For example, for Oldham, he doesn't really need to fuse his attacks because it only matters that he stomps for 7 or 10, right? Right. When it comes to Briar, the fusion value is quite high, but for Lexi, it is quite high as well. Also, Lexi's ability pings off of you having lightning or ice cards in your arsenal, so it is good to pick them higher than the rest. Also, if you are picking strictly elemental cards, i.e. lightning cards or ice cards or earth cards at the beginning of your draft, you are more likely to stay open, see which heroes are going to be open, which heroes cards and elemental cards are going to get passed to you later in pack 1 and probably in pack 3. So picking up elemental cards in the early stages of pack 1 is usually much wiser for you than just going for class cards, unless these class cards are really good. Okay, so first of all, let's get the more rare cards out of the way. But remember, even if these are, let's say, legendaries, you will come across them sooner or later, hopefully sooner, for your benefit and your collection's benefit. Like, for example, in one of my most recent drafts, I was presented with the opportunity to pick up Shock Charmers, and I did, because it's a friggin' legendary. But then I played it in Lexi, and it proved to be good. So let me talk about the legendaries. New Horizon, you have an additional arsenal zone when you have a face-up card in your arsenal. It is a great ability, and it kind of allows you to work around the weaknesses of arsenal in Lexi that I've talked about in the first part of the series. Heart of Ice has Arcane Barrier 1, and that is all that you need because that's a huge up in the Briar matchup, and it can block for 1. Shock Charmers are really good, especially if you have on-hit attack effects from Blizzard Bolt or Chilling Ice Vein, because you can play this ability, this instant ability, for 2 resources. The next time an attack action card you control hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them, and you can play it multiple times. And your arrows have Dominate more often than not. But let's not kid ourselves, if you open a legendary, you take a legendary, so that's really easy. But the biggest part is when it comes to the equipment. Honing Hood is really good. It can allow you, even if you have an empty arsenal zone, you can destroy it, return all cards in your arsenal to your hand, even if it's 0, then put a card from your hand face down into your arsenal. That can be like an additional reload. That can be like putting an elemental card here to use your Lexi's ability. So it is really good. Code of Frost, 1-time action with Go Again, destroy, create a Frostbite token under target hero's control. It is a good way to pivot and to start taxing your opponent. Mark of Lightning, whenever lightning or elemental attack you control is defended by a card from hand, you may destroy Mark of Lightning as a triggered effect. If you do, the attack deals 1 damage to the defending hero, more if it's a Ball Lightning or if it's a fused Frazzle or something like that. All of these are really good. I would have to say that Honing Hood is the best because it allows you for more flexibility. Mark of Lightning probably second, and Coat of Frost third. Then we have Crackerjacks. Action, destroy the next attack action card you play this turn, gains +1 attack, go again. Not a huge effect, and that is the opposite of Runaways, which saves you from 1 damage if you've already been dealt damage in a turn. These are okay at best. I wouldn't really pick them high for Lexi. Deep Blue is obviously, and you've probably heard it more than once, it is a first pick. Action, put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, destroy Deep Blue, gain 3 resources, go again. Deep Blue has an amazing ability of fixing a hand if you have something like 4 red cards or 3 red cards and a yellow, but you need more resources. Fine. In Lexi, sometimes 2 resources is all you need. But by having Deep Blue, you can dive deeper actually into red and go up as high as even 20 red cards in your deck and still have very fluent turns. And Ragamuffin's Hat, instant destroy, draw a card, and put a card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. Activate this ability only if you have 1 card in hand. It can stay, it can go. I mean, these 3 generics over here, aside from Deep Blue, these can stay, these can go. Deep Blue, amazing. These, good. This, amazing. These, money! Okay, let's get to Majestics. Voltaire, strike twice. It has the upside of being able to get activated twice per turn. It can give arrows +1 attack or go again instead of dominate. It could be a bit of a trap, and more often than not, I would go for Shiver instead of Voltaire. On the other hand, if I have a really good go wide deck, this is going to be amazing. Pulse of Volthaven is amazing. It is Lightning Ice, so it triggers everything that you want it to be doing, and your next Lightning Ice or Elemental attack this turn gains +4 attack. You have to play this one before you play the actual attack, but it is still amazing. Let's get on to the other Majestics. Blizzard, Ice instant, target attack loses and can't gain go again unless the attacking hero pays 2 resources. Not really a Lexi card. Channel Lake Frigid. Go again, cards and activated abilities cost opposing heroes an additional resource, and you have to use ice cards from your pitch zone to keep this in play. It's not great in Lexi, but I believe I would play it at least one of these. But you need to have some ice cards to be able to play it. Blink, gain 1 action point, just like that. I remember I used to play it just as a blue resource and a lightning card, but it doesn't block, so it could be cut. Channel Thunderstep, go again. Whenever you play an action card, you may pay 1 resource. If you do, it gains go again. Probably you can get enough go again in Lexi that you don't need Channel Thunderstep as well. Flash Freeze. Ice and or Lightning Fusion. If Flash Freeze was fused with an ice card, attack you control this turn gain. When you attack with this, it gains Dominate unless the defending hero pays 2 resources. If it was fused with a lightning card, attacks you control this turn gain. If this hits a hero, deal 3 damage to them. It costs 1. Honestly, Electrify is just much better than this, so I would probably refrain from playing this. Seek and Destroy, a 0 costing buff for 3. That is very good. And the elemental arrows of Light It Up, Frostlock, and an additional buff in Ice Storm. All of these are okay, but they could stay, they could go. I mean, Frostlock is fine because honestly, it's a 1 costing blue that if you fuse it attacks for 4. Light It Up has the ability of when it deals damage to a hero if it was fused, it gains, if it hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them for each equipment they control, and usually in draft and in sealed it's not a lot. And Ice Storm says your next arrow attack this turn gains +3 attack, and if you are somehow able to do Ice and Lightning Fusion, it does a ton more, but you're probably not going to do it. So these are fine, but opening them in pack 1, pick 1 wouldn't make me go into Lexi. Okay? Okay, let's move on to the rest of the cards, and I will just lay them out and talk about them in general. So first, the elemental cards. We will have Lightning up top, and that is Flash, Lightning Press, Weave Lightning, or rather on the left. And then we have Ball Lightning, Lightning Surge, Electrify, Heaven's Claws, and Shock Striker, and the Amulet. And here on the right side, we are going to have Frost Fangs, Ice Quakes, Weave Ices, Chills to the Bone, Icy Encounters, Polar Blasts, Winter's Bites, Winter's Grasps, and the Amulet of Ice here, over here. But the Amulet of Ice, honestly, I wouldn't be playing it, and I wouldn't be playing Amulet of Lightning unless I specifically need more Fuse cards and or more blue cards. But these are really not high picks. So, best cards for Lexi are the ones that allow you to do much more. And these are usually elemental cards with Go Again. So we have, well, Flash is more of a Briar card, but we have Weave Lightning, Ice Quake, Weave Ice, Polar Blast, Chill to the Bone, Electrify, honestly Lightning Surge, Ball Lightning, maybe even a Winter's Bite. These two lightning attacks, if you arsenal them and you flip them up using Lexi's ability, they gain Go Again, so that is fine as well. Lightning Press is a great card, but putting it in your arsenal zone could be a trap because it's an instant. Your next attack gains Go Again, but your arsenal is filled. You cannot put an arrow there, so unless you have an attack like Heaven's Claws, Shock Striker, or Lightning Surge, Ball Lightning, something like that, and you can attack your opponent, then it's going to be difficult. Also remember, target attack action card with cost 1 or less gains +3, 2, or 1 attack. So it doesn't work on Frostfang, it doesn't work on Icy Encounter, it doesn't work on Winter's Grasp because they cost 2. So it is really difficult. Okay. You also have to remember that 2 of the elemental attacks, and that is Winter's Grasp and Heaven's Claws, have 3 defense, while most of the other cards, unless they're instants or Ball Lightning, have 2 defense. These two have 0. I mean, you cannot defend with this, and you can defend with this for 0. I wouldn't pick Frostfang, really, as a Lexi card. And I'm kind of torn on some of the other ones, and I probably wouldn't pick Flash as a Lexi card. So these go to the bottom. As far as the other ones go, Electrify and Polar Blast are really, really good for you, because if you have a sequence of loading your bow, attacking, and fusing, and you don't have Go Again, especially if you don't have Go Again on the arrow, then you are left with that one card in your hand, and you put it in your arsenal. And both of these have the ability of, if this is played from arsenal, draw a card and Go Again. And you can reveal them at the start of your next turn because they are lightning and ice respectively. So you can either tax the opponent or gain Go Again. So these are really good. If you are going wide for Lexi, then you have to remember about your break points, and that is going red on Lightning Surges, red or yellow on Shock Striker or Heaven's Claws, because that is the value that you need. When it comes to Ball Lightning, even the blue one is really good. The only downside of blue Ball Lightning under yellow Ball Lightning, and that is attacks for 1 and attacks for 2, is that if you're playing against Oldhim, and Oldhim still has his Rotten Old Buckler and can just friggin' block Ball Lightning for 1 with the Buckler. That is a really feels bad moment. But yes, the Lightning cards are really amazing. You just have to remember not to put Lightning Press in your arsenal zone, otherwise you're gonna feel really bad. When it comes to the ice cards, Winter's Grasp and Icy Encounter are a bit problematic, and I've already talked about that in part 1. About if you are left with this card in your hand, do you put it in your arsenal or not? And you can, unless it's a blue one, then you should just be pitching this card for resources to play your turn out in a different way. Now, from all the elemental cards, I would say that there is a ton of great cards for Lexi, but not only for Lexi. I mean, Weave Ice, Ice Quake, Weave Lightning, Lightning Press, these are all buffs to your attack for 1, 2, 3, respectively. 1, 2, and 3 always, and they do some special abilities as well. Polar Blast and Electrify are really amazing because if you arsenal them, next turn you pitch a card, pay 1, and you get your card back. And if you pitched a blue or a yellow, you are ahead on resources, kind of, or at least the same. I mean, unless you draw a red that you want to pitch for resources, that you have to pitch for resources because the rest of your hand already has a plan, and then you are ahead. If you get a red, you might just, your attack plan might get slightly better or slightly different. So that is really, really good. Winter's Bite and Chill to the Bone. I don't think I would go for the red variants, but the blue and yellows are good because they either work as resources or your fuse cards or your give Frostbite token from Lexi's ability, and they have go again, so it's easy to just put them in the market. Lightning Surge, Ball Lightning, Heaven's Claws, Shock Striker, really good attacks. If you put them in the market, you are more than fine to attack multiple times on your next turn. But you have to remember, if you put one of these two in your in your arsenal, and you reveal them from Lexi's ability, then your next attack gains go again. And if the next attack is one of these, a go again ability in multiples is redundant. You can only go again once, so it only refreshes one action point for you upon the resolution of the chain link. So it is good for, you can do something like reveal Ball Lightning from your arsenal, play one of these have go again, then you play Ball Lightning, it has go again, and then you load up your bow, load up your quiver from your bow, and you shoot an arrow. But that also has the downside of your first playing one of these attacks, then you're playing Ball Lightning, which has a beneficial effect if it's the previous attack, the former attack, the attack number 1. But overall, most of these are really good. When it comes to Polar Blast and Electrify, you can go for the more resource-filled ones. If it goes for the buffs, you want to go for the reds. If it goes for the Winter's Bite, Chill to the Bone, you want to go for resources. When it comes to attacks, you're looking at breakpoints, so you want 4 or more attack points on your cards. And amulets are just there if you're low on resources or if you're low on fusion. So let's get rid of these and let's go through the quiver, because most of the class cards are arrows and an overflex or 2 or 3. And here we go. So we have Blizzard Bolt, Bolt and Shot, Buzz Bolt, Chilling Ice Vein, Cool Cold Wave, Dazzling Crescendo, Flakeout, Razzle, Snapshot, and Overflex. 3 of these are rare, 7 of these are common, but you can see multiples of rares in a draft nonetheless. Okay, so first of all, I would have to get this and this over to the left side, because these cost 0, the rest costs 1. Okay, and it is quite important to remember that for Lexi, you can use 2 resources to load up your bow and shoot an arrow. Or even if you have an overflex, you can use overflex to load up your bow and shoot the arrow with the second one. As for the attacks, most often than not, you are looking for red arrows, okay? And the ones that cost 0 deal 4 damage, the ones that cost 1 deal 5 damage. So you're looking for attack values of 4 and above, and you're looking for red arrows. Red arrows here even deal 5. But you should be okay as kind of filler, but also kind of resources, to go for yellow arrows that cost 1. As far as Overflex goes, the red one is just pure amazing. It is +4 to the attack. It should be picked as high as these elemental buffs like Weave Lightning or Icequake, right? And you really want to focus on red arrows. If during the draft you see a pack that is pick 4 or 5 or 6 and you still see 2 red arrows hanging in there, it is quite possible that Lexi should be at least a bit open for this draft for you in packs 1 and 3. But you have to confirm that signal a pack or 2 later. So if there is one pack with 2 red arrows, but no red arrows come in the next 2 packs, then you might get suspicious and you might want to think about avoiding that plan. Yellow arrows, once again, are a bit of a filler, but they are still playable. And remember, these, aside from overflexes, these arrows are the only cards, aside from a couple of elemental attacks, that block for 3. And Lexi is really not a defensive animal. She needs to attack. She needs to put the pressure on her opponent. When it comes to these attacks, they are attacking for 2, 3, and 4. And given that only red are breakpoints, I would consider picking blue ones over yellow ones, because it doesn't matter. The opponent's usually blocks with 1 card from their hand, and usually, let's assume it's a 3, so it doesn't matter if you're attacking for 2 or 3, they are going to block it, but at least the blue ones give you more resources. So I would say red, then blue, then yellow, whereas with the 1-costing arrows, it is red, then yellow, then blue. Bolt and shot is a bit different, because for bolt and shot you always need to give +1 from your bow, because then while bolt and shot's attack is greater than its base attack, it gains go again, and if this hits, reload. So from the bow you're always giving it +1, which means that even the yellow one has a breakpoint of 4. So for bolt and shot it goes red, yellow, and then blue, as well as it went for the other arrows that cost 1. Bolt and shot costs 0. Overflex, you do want them in your deck, but I wouldn't say that you want more than 4, probably. And having 1 of each is fine. I would still have to say that reds are better than the other 2. Okay, so that's the general card evaluation for Lexi. From me, there are a lot of high picks. I would, once again, to reiterate a TLDR, I would want to pick some of the elemental cards in pack 1, pick 1, 2, 3, 4, because then you're also staying open. But starting pack 1, pick 5, if you see multiples of red arrows in your packs, and not 1, but 2 packs, or at least 1 red arrow in like pick 7 or 8, then it means Lexi is probably open and you can start thinking about going in this direction. And this is going to be the end of part 2, card evaluation. Next up, part 3, deck list examples.